Hi everyone, how are you all doing? My name is Natalie. If this is the first time that you're watching my videos, thank you so much for being here. I am a Western tropical astrologer. I use whole sign house system to do all my reading and forecasts, and I hope to create the space for all of us to be here to connect, to share astrological energies, weather reports together, and by doing so, we are moving through all these energies together, and I hope to be in some way, shape, or form a weather reporter for you to let you know what's ahead so that you can choose how to work with these energy. It's just like weather report. If you know it's gonna rain, maybe bring an umbrella. It might not rain, but you are always prepared and you know what is happening, and you have the free will to choose how those energy going to manifest for you and how you're going to use it to help you move through your own human journey as well. This is going to be a long video, so grab a cuppa like I do and let's begin. So this video we are talking about Uranus and Gemini. It is going to be very long because all the things that I'm going to talk about are already in the timestamp below. But what I want to do is first really break down what this transit really means. What is Uranus? What is Gemini? And what are they doing together? What does it mean when Uranus is in Gemini? What does this transit mean? What can we expect? And astrology is the study of history, cycles, and events that happened and patterns so that we can use them as a reference and guidance. And in doing so, we can then see what might happen in the future. But it does not mean the history will repeat, because remember, every time when all this transit repeat, other planets are also doing other things up in the sky, and they might alter the energy a little bit, and we always have the free will to choose what to do with this energy. I'm telling you all this, sharing with you all this information, but it is all up to you for you to decide how you want to take this information and how you want to use this energy to your own benefit, or how can you lay that information on top of your natal chart and see what that might mean for you, what can you expect, and how can you move through this energy if it resonates, and so on and so forth. So first we will definitely break down Uranus, Gemini, what does it mean, and a little bit about the history, what happened during the Uranus and Taurus transit that we just experienced, and we'll still experience a little bit more because Uranus entered Gemini July 7, 2025, but it will only stay here for just a little bit to give us like a really quick glimpse of what this transit is like. So some of us might not even know what this transit will really mean for you. It's going to be just a very quick transit because Uranus will then retrograde back into Taurus for a few months to truly wrap up this Uranus and Taurus transit for all of us individually and as a collective, and will re-enter Gemini next year, and then it will continue to move through Gemini for the next solid 7-ish year to really allow us to experience that transit energy. And of course we will then go down to the all 12 signs. That's why this video is so long, because I want all of you to really know a little bit more about how this energy might manifest for you and how you can work with this energy. So I will also break down this transit into all 12 signs reading, and I encourage you to always watch your ascendant, your rising sign message, ascendant, rising, whichever resonate more with you, because your rising sign is the sign that dictate what your natal chart looks like. And by listening to watching your rising sign message, you will know which house this Uranus in Gemini transit is happening for you. But also feel free to watch your sun and moon. Sun sign message might also resonate in some way, and that's also how some astrologers and some people read their chart, is according to their sun sign. The moon is a more internal energy. So if you're interested, you can also take a look and see what that might mean for you, but that might come up in a very different way, in a more personal, inward way, or you might not feel that much at all. So it really depends how you connect with your chart and what resonate more with you so far in your life, but I always encourage you, if you're going to just watch one message, please always watch your rising ascendant sign message. So now that we know what is happening, and again, you can always go down to the timestamp to see the layout of this video and choose what part to watch. And now let's begin. Planet Uranus enters the sign of Gemini on July 7, 2025 at 3:47 p.m. Hong Kong time, or 12:47 a.m. Pacific time. So adjust the time according to where you are in the world. This is going to kickstart, well, almost kickstart a new 7-ish 8-year cycle for all of us as a collective and individually. I say almost is because Uranus will retrograde back into Taurus in a little bit for a few months. So it's not really set in stone in Gemini just yet. All of these outer planets are all moving into new zodiac sign this year, but will retrograde back in the fall to the previous sign and re-enter the new sign next year in like springtime. So that is when we will really fully see how all these new transits energy really show up for us big time. This year and next year is more of an in-between time where we are kind of witnessing the closing of all these major chapters perhaps in your life, or as a collective. I'm sure you all can see how some of all these manifest into our reality already, and it's like this in-between space where you have a glimpse of what is possible, what might come, and the potential, the opportunity to create something new, but also seeing the collapse, the crumbling of the past, why it didn't work, why it has to end, and if you really truly want to end it in your personal life, right? There's something that maybe perhaps you need to look at, to reconcile, to reflect on, and so on and so forth as well. So many of us are moving through this energy in different area of our life, or on different path in our own human journey as well. So Uranus, probably the most unique and just out of the blue planet in our solar system. It is the only planet so far that orbits the sun on its side. So instead of moving like this, it's like that. It's like a wheel. So it's very different, very avant-garde. It's just unique like itself. That's why its energy is very different. And Uranus was discovered by William Herschel through a telescope that he built by himself in 1781. At first he thought it was a comet, but then after some calculation and confirmation, then they confirmed, no, it's not a comet, it's a planet. It's also the first time that human discovered seeing a planet beyond without their naked eyes, right? With a tool, with a telescope, a new invention, a new thing as well. So it's like, wow, you were always there, but I didn't know until right now. So it's a wow discovery for all of us. So that is why Uranus associate with this sudden, out of blue, unexpected energy. And because it's discovered through the invention, the telescope, a new invention during that time, it is also associated with newness, with new ideas, light bulb moments, and innovation. And it was also discovered around the time during all the revolutionary wars, the French, the American, the Haitian, and it was also around the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And because of that, Uranus is associating with the energy of breaking free and liberation and revolution, just like breaking free from something and breaking free from some kind of status quo that might be old or no longer aligning as well. Why Uranus is named Uranus? So Uranus was named after the Greek god of sky, and his name is Uranus. Okay, so in the Greek mythology, Uranus, the god of sky, he married Gaia, the earth, and they gave birth to Titan Kronos, which is Saturn, and the grandfather of Zeus, which is Jupiter. So Uranus and Gaia gave birth to Jupiter and Saturn, right? The two planets that is before Uranus, if you see how they lay out in the solar system. This also aligns with their order as well. And Uranus is the planet that is beyond Saturn, right? Saturn used to be the last visible planet, but now Uranus is discovered. So because of that, they thought that this name is right. This name is suitable to the planet, and that is why it's named Uranus, which I thought is quite interesting, and I kind of agree with it too. So because of all those things I've just mentioned, Uranus have this energy of busting old paradigm, right? Breaking free from status quo and shaking things up. It has that uniqueness, that electrifying energy, innovation, rebellious energy to really challenge the way we think and the way we believe things as a society and individually. Uranus is the great disruptor, is also the great awakener, because it really challenged us to, is it really that, or can it be something else, right? Do we need to remain here, or is it time to break free and shift and try something new, right? It has that rebellious and also revolutionary energy within it as well. It brings, of course, everything I said, all planet, all transit, all signs, they all have their light and shadow attribute. And yes, Uranus can bring in disruption, can bring in chaos, impulsivity, can sometimes really make us feel like, what the fuck? And feeling of overwhelm and mental exhaustion sometimes, and feel like we're being challenged, because it's like, is it really that? Can you think of something else, you know? So it can, but at the same time, those energy can also sometimes spark inspiration, innovation, new ideas, epiphanies, and moments of genius as well. So that's why there's always this light and shadow attribute to all energies. And Uranus has just spent the past 7 years in the sign of Taurus. Uranus was in Taurus from May 2018 to July 2025. And of course, Uranus will retrograde back into Taurus in a couple of months. Uranus will start retrograding, and it will go back to Taurus for a few months, wrap up something, fully wrap up and close out this Uranus and Taurus transit chapter for all of us, and re-enter Gemini next year in spring. So now we're having this tiniest glimpse of what Uranus in Gemini might mean for us as a collective. So let's talk a little bit about what happened the past 7 years. And you can also think back the past 7 years. What has changed? What has really shake up? And what have you liberate yourself from or break free from, maybe from a status quo, from a relationship, from a situation, an old way of belief, a pattern, a belief system, or a way of living life and believing things, or it's your career path or whatever, right? And also take a look and see which house is ruled by Taurus. Perhaps the area of your life, the themes and topics in that Taurus house really went through some big shift and changes. Taurus is the most fixed sign in the 12 zodiac. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Earth sign are already like the grounding one, and Taurus is the fixed one. So no sign can be more fixed and stubborn than Taurus. Sorry, don't come at me, Taurus, but come on, it has an ounce of truth in it, okay? And Taurus talks about the Mother Earth. It is the ground, the fertile soil of this floating blue and green dot that we're all living on. Taurus talks about the agriculture, the food supply chain system, how we farm and source food and energy, right? Our essential embodiment and experience on this physical earth, our physical possession, our material things that is tangible that we can touch. It also talks about finance and stock market, currency. And the past 7 years, we really see the rise and the chaos of cryptocurrency. It really got like full blown the past like decade, I would say. But more or less, you know, especially when Uranus is in Taurus, like the last few years, like I myself also went through a little bit sudden changes in that area as well. And it talks about agriculture, food and stuff, right? And I can say for sure that plant-based meat and alternative meat product definitely come up to the forefront for many of us, like Impossible Meat, like Beyond, and other brands that just keep popping up, right? There's this new invention, innovation when it comes to food. Like I cannot imagine eating a burger that the patty is not real meat, but it tastes like one. Like I've tasted some of them and I'm just like, oh my goodness, right? Yeah, so that was that. And also because Taurus relates to Mother Earth, it relates to, you know, our climates, the earth and everything. And sadly, the past 7 years, we also witnessed the increasing of natural disaster happening all around the world. And also, there is this 2019 was also the year of climate emergency declarations, and we definitely see more and more information, documentaries about how climate change, global warming is really affecting all of us, and different ways that we can tackle this problem and try to reverse. I don't know if we are living at a right now in 2025, because I am very, 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 very passionate about really, I pay a lot of attention to this topic. It's really close to my heart, and it really changed. Like my own Uranus and Taurus story is very closely related to this. And I just read an article a couple of days ago that we are at a point, a few years ago, we're still talking about we might be able to reverse it, you know, things that we can do, things that we can really start doing now to maybe reverse climate change. But the article that I read a couple of days ago is already telling us that we are beyond that time that we can reverse. Now it's about how can we slow down this process. So it's really, I know I'm going off at a tangent right now, but if you are watching this, if you are somewhat resonating with what I'm saying, I really hope that we can all still, it's not to fearmonger, it's not to be feeling doom and gloom, but what can we do right now? No matter how small the action you think you're doing, you are doing something. And how can we continue to spread and not force, okay, but spread awareness, sharing this knowledge with other people, encouraging and helping each other to contribute to that change, because we don't want this beautiful place to end, right? I hope not everybody is thinking that it's going to end, but we are really the problem, and we need to start seeing that and not to feel guilt and shame, but turn those emotions and feeling and use them as motivation to continue to do what we can, continue to educate ourselves, to continue to find solution and be the solution, and share and encourage others to do the same. Okay, I am so sorry. Let's come back to it. But yes, we definitely see how the way we consume food, consume energy, you know, the resources in the world really changed the past 7 years when Uranus is in Taurus, and all these things are just getting louder and louder by the end of this transit. I think we're just at a point, like I don't think well, I can't speak for everybody, right? But I feel like the majority of us do know that this is a problem. This is a real thing that is threatening all beings on this planet, and we can all be the solution if we choose to, right? So this is, in a nutshell, what Uranus and Taurus is for us, because we still have a few more months of this. I wonder what is going to happen during the retrograde. Maybe perhaps some new things might come up that can help us, educate us to contribute more to the solution side of the climate change problem that we're facing or whatnot. Let's see what happens, but I'm trying also to stay positive and optimistic about the future as well. Uranus has a cycle of 84 years, around 84 years. So it takes 4 years to travel through all 12 signs, meaning each sign Uranus will stay 7-ish, 8 years or so in each sign on an average. So none of us, well, not none of us, most of us, because there are still people with Uranus and Gemini that are still living and breathing on this world right now, but many of us, but when they have this Uranus and Gemini, they were really little, so they might not have much memory of what the previous transit was like. But I can pretty sure and say that many of us, the majority of us, don't know what Uranus and Gemini is going to bring us, because we never experienced this transit in our lifetime. And it's a big deal because this is going to be quite a big energy-packed transit for all of us. So let's break down Uranus and Gemini a little bit more. Gemini is a sign that is ruled by Mercury. And Gemini is a sign of the twins, the duality. It talks about our nervous system. It talks about the way we think, the way we communicate and exchange ideas. The way, having Uranus and Gemini will definitely bring in extra mental stimulation for all of us, right? And it can be good or bad, you know, it's just an energy, right? But there's, of course, like I said, there's the light and the shadow attribute. In one way, it can bring in a lot of moments of genius, like I said, new ideas, innovation, breaking free from something through maybe communication and things like that. But on the other hand, it can also bring in a lot of mental exhaustion, feeling of anxiety and overwhelm, because we're constantly being hyper-stimulated, right? So I think having the tools to really stay grounded, to calm your nervous system will be very important in this transit. If that is the one advice that I can give to everyone, is that. And also, of course, if you have your big three, if you are especially Gemini rising, you will definitely feel this transit the most, more than anyone, right? But of course, you feel it the most when Uranus really hit your ascendant degree. And of course, the Gemini sun and moon, you will definitely feel it as well. But all these big three, it will feel this transit differently, right? Because they all mean different things. Uranus and Gemini will bring in this new wave of innovation, revelation, and also a dose of chaos for all of us as a collective and individually, right? It will definitely bring in revolution in information, technology, communication, transportation, commerce, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury ruled transportation, commerce, and all the mercurial thing like social media, journalism, communication, information exchange, so all these stuff, and social media as well, of course. So there is also going to be, of course, a fair amount of chaos and disruption in all those areas as well, right? We always see the light and the shadow attribute. So we will definitely see some big radical change and shifts in all those departments, right? The way we think, the way we learn, right? The educational system, closely related to that, the way we communicate and exchange information and consume information, like social media apps, the way we travel, because Mercury rules transportation as well. So maybe the way we travel locally can be very different. We might have like flying taxi or flying cars, which we're probably going to see for sure, I feel like. And the way we connect with people locally might be very different as well, because Gemini talks about our immediate surrounding as well. And look at AI, okay? AI, what it can do, what it is doing is already so wow to me. I know I sometimes talk like a grandma, and I have my own piece about AI personally. But one thing I can say is I can guarantee 100% that the things that AI will be doing is like something we cannot even fathom during this transit. By the end of this transit, if we all make it, so to say, we'll be like, yeah, for sure, I feel like. And with the advance in technology, we definitely will see some new social media app. Definitely right now is what Instagram, Facebook, these are all the big, most popular social media apps. I'm sure new ones will come and dominate the market as well. The way we consume news is very different already. I mean, when is the last time you buy a newspaper? Hello, right? And it slowly moved to like television, now on the smartphone, and now we don't even look at news just from the major big news outlet, because we know they don't speak the truth all the time. They're controlled in some way. But we also know how to get news from our social media, right? Because like I was reading an article, it says, I think 80%, I might be wrong, I think 80% of us are consuming news and getting our news no longer from the traditional method. We're getting news from social media apps and like individual news outlet that is like online, that we can stream on our phones nowadays, compared to like getting newspaper. I still remember that time. Definitely revealing my age here, but yes, that is so different. That feel like a lifetime ago. So we will definitely see that. And I feel like this is a little bit scary, but I feel like, well, for me it is, because I'm a little bit iffy about it, but I feel like during this transit we will definitely see the possibility of having digital implant in us. Like, are you gonna get digital implant or not? Maybe to like, I don't know, activate bigger potential in your brain, or to like, I don't know, to do something with the brain, and to maybe enhance the way we think, the way we process information, and so on and so forth. I can guarantee there will be things like that coming out that's just like, huh? Like, you will never think of it, but yes, it will think of it. They will come out, right? All the out of the blue, the what the hell thing will definitely come out. And of course, like I always say, there's the yin and the yang, there's the light, and then there's the shadow attribute. How all these new things can really affect us as a human will also come out. The way we think and do things. How will AI take over and maybe replace some of us in what we do? I mean, we can already see robot cleaning up, or like delivering meal. We no longer need so many people doing that. You know, we might see more of that. And how it will compete with us, right, when it comes to natural resources. Because I'm sure some of us will probably know, I've read articles about it. That's why I personally don't really like all this information too much, because of also how much natural resources they are taking from the earth in order to stay operate. But if I can just have a minute here to talk about it, like all these AI stuff, for them to work, they need to have big data center to store all this information, and those machine needs a lot of space, first of all. And the other thing is they give out a lot of heat, so they need a lot of energy to help them to stay cool, and in order for them to work, that means they need electricity, they need energy to cool them down. And guess what? They need fresh water to help them stay cool. One question you put in AI equivalents to 15 bottled water. So are you going to use AI to ask some dumb stupid question instead of using your brain, and give up 15 bottled water that you drink for yourself? Think about that. Okay, I know I'm being a little bit harsh over here, and some of you will definitely have different opinion, but you know, the more I know, the more I just know that this is not something good. But of course, there's something very powerful and just profound that AI can also help us do. Maybe we just need very, very strict and strong regulation to really regulate how people use AI, if we want to survive. Otherwise, we will be competing, we will be fighting for water with AI. That's what I'm going to say here. I'm not trying to fear-mongering, but this is real, okay? So we really need to talk about it and be aware and educate ourselves more around this topic and choose how to use it and share it with others as well. Sorry, went on another tangent. On a personal level, okay, let's talk about Uranus in Gemini on a personal level. On a personal level, you are going to go on a self-revolutionary journey in your Gemini house. So take a look and see which house is ruled by Gemini. What area of life is that about? What themes and topic is your Gemini house? Those things will go through a little self-revolution journey. Okay, Uranus will bring in some shake-up, some aha moment, some what the fuck moments, some moments of pivots for you, perhaps some revelation, also disruption, like I said, in that area. It's not like you will feel this energy every day for the next 7-ish, 8 years. That will be crazy, okay? Everyone will just go crazy. No. But it will happen from time to time. Maybe something will happen that's spark a epiphany, revelation, or an aha moment. Something might shake up that really alter that theme and topic area of your life. It's like, what the fuck? But okay, now I have to do something about it, right? Those kind of moments, especially if you have any planets or point in that Gemini house, if any planets are aspecting that house, then yes, you might feel it differently. You might feel it more intensely, and so on and so forth. So you really need to take a look at your Gemini house and see what is happening. And sometimes it's by choice, sometimes it's being forced, because the universe is always working in our favor. If we are not moving, the universe will make us move by giving us something. So that might happen during this transit, but it also provides an opportunity to allow yourself to break free if you feel stuck in those topic, themes, or area of your life. This Uranus and Gemini transit will definitely kick your ass and really allow you to break free from any status quo, anything that feels stuck or unaligned for your highest good that needs to go. Uranus will come in and just come in like a wrecking ball and just kick everything away, so that you can have something new, you can build something new. You might need to confront your shadow side sometimes, because sometimes it might be like a rude awakening, wake-up call that Uranus is bringing in. It's like, hey dude, you need to look at this right now. You gotta change, you gotta move. This has gotta go. So that might happen for some of us, okay? So not trying to make you feel scared of this transit. Remember, this is all happening for our highest good. And sometimes we can only connect the dots when we look back. So maybe at those moments we'll feel like, why does this have to happen? Why did that happen? Why did I lose that? Or so on and so forth. But maybe that needs to happen in order to lead you to something better that is more aligned as well. Now, I want to get a little bit into the history and talk about what happened during the previous Uranus and Gemini transit, just for reference to see what happened during the last couple of times. So last time when Uranus was in Gemini, it was during 1941 to 1948. And during that time, we had World War II, we had the Holocaust and the Nakba towards the end. And the one previous of this was 1858 to 1866. And it coincides with Neptune in Aries, which we are having this transit as well right now. So last time, Neptune was in Aries, Uranus was in Gemini, American Civil War. That was when the American Civil War happened. And the one before that, it's all connected, okay? It was 1774 to 1782. That was the age of revolution. That was also the time when we had Pluto in Aquarius, which we are experiencing it right now. So we are experiencing all these major transits repeating all together, okay? Because we have Neptune in Aries, we have Pluto in Aquarius, and now we have Uranus in Gemini. And during 1774 to 1782, it was the age of revolution. American, French, Haitian revolution. It was also, by the end of it, it was like the beginning of industrial revolution. So that's why the revolution energy is so strong when we talk about Uranus, because it's all about breaking free, right? So yes, it seems like the USA are always involved, at least in the last 3 Uranus and Gemini transit, is always involved in some kind of wars, okay? And we kind of see it doing that already right now. What is going to happen this transit? I don't know. I think at this point, it's not really fear-mongering anymore. I think many of us will agree that US might just announce, well, right now, USA is not officially in war just yet, because I think official it will have to be when the president, the little orange man, declare we are officially in war with blah blah, right? That is when the USA will be officially announcing that like a war declaration. But we haven't had that yet, I think, right? So we might see that during this transit. Again, this is not to say that history will repeat, because I always believe we're also living in other transit. Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune in Aries. This is about we the people. We the people still have the majority. We are the global majority. We have the power to still allow our voice to be heard, to create the changes we want to see in the world, as long as we work together. So, but why is USA so connected to all this transit? Because in USA Sibley chart, the birth natal chart of USA, US has Uranus in Gemini, okay? Because during 1776, July 4th, when the founding fathers break free from the old British monarchy, they were doing what Uranus in Gemini was doing, breaking free from the status quo, liberating themselves from the British Empire in order to create their own, right? That is so Uranus in Gemini. And yeah, It's Not Real also has its established chart with Uranus in Gemini, because it was established in the previous Uranus in Gemini transit. And guess what? The little orange man also has a Uranus in Gemini. So we are seeing all the chart being activated in this transit. What will happen, we don't really know, but there's some few key days I want us to pay attention, right? First of all is 2027, July 26. That will be the exact Uranus return of USA, because right when Uranus entered Gemini on July 7, 2025, it kickstarted that energy of Uranus in Gemini, and US have Uranus in Gemini, so that Uranus return energy got brought up and activated already. But the exact day that the current Uranus will aspect US solar return Uranus will not happen until 2027, July 26. So there's still things happening between now till then. Another key date is July 4th, 2026. That will be next year when the USA have their own solar return again, right? It's the Independence Day. That is so crazy. The astrology is just so wild, because on the same day, meaning USA solar return chart, Mars and Uranus will conjunct in Gemini. So that is a day everybody needs to pay attention, because individually Mars, Uranus conjunct in Gemini, I want you to really have all the tools you have at hand to stay calm, to calm your nervous system and stay grounded. Because Mars-Uranus conjunct is just sudden injuries, right? Sudden power outage, sudden, I really don't want to say it, but the sudden outbreak of war and violence, right? Because Mars is associated with weapons, fire, wars. But yeah, mental exhaustion. The sudden migraine just really hurt your head. Some of you might have experienced that. That is what it feels like, okay? So I need you to take care of yourself on that day. So circle that day as well. One more day, July 11, 2028. That was kind of like a finale of Uranus and Gemini, because that is when Uranus will conjunct USA descendant in Gemini, and the descendant is about other people, right? So this is about USA's relationship with its close allies and other country as well. Having Uranus conjuncting that, there might be a sudden change in those leadership relationship connections. We'll just have to wait and see. So the reason why I talk so much about Uranus in Gemini with USA, because their chart really do connect together, right? USA is going through its own Uranus return, and whatever happened in one place ripple out and affect the rest of the world. So it will affect all of us. We cannot not talk about it. This is having the awareness of what is happening around the world so that we can prepare ourselves and choose how to work with this energy. But I do want to take a moment and not just talk about all the doom and glooms, because Uranus in Gemini can be a very innovative and revolutionary transit for all of us and as a collective. So I do want to share a few things that happened in the previous Uranus and Gemini transit that really benefit all of us, okay? So first, 1958, we have the first transatlantic telegraph cable laid and operate, even though it failed after a few weeks. But by the end of that Uranus in Gemini transit, it rebuilt a more reliable and permanent cable was established, and that was 1866. So that was just wild. So in the beginning of that transit, they have it, the first transatlantic telegraph cable that allow people across the country, across the world to communicate, even though it failed. But Uranus in Gemini continued to work its magic, and by the end of that transit, we have a more reliable permanent cable that really work and stay working. So that was amazing and genius, right? That is just a signature of Uranus in Gemini. And then 1941, we have the first ever television commercial that got aired on television. 1941, July 1st in the USA. It was a 10-second long commercial for Boulevard watches. And the commercial is like 10 seconds, black and white. It's the map of US with the Boulevard watch logo on top of the map, and it says America runs on Boulevard time. So, and that commercial was played before a Brooklyn Dodger baseball game. So I thought that was like pretty cool. And then we also in 1941 have the first functional, freely programmable computer, the Z3, that was invented by Conrad Zuse. So, see, the beginning of all this technology coming up during the last Uranus and Gemini transit, and this time is just going to be wild, because we will definitely see all these computer technology continue to evolve to the next level, to a level that we cannot even fathom. 1941 was also when the foundation of silicon-based computing technology really begun and just like take off at that point. Now let's come back to this time, this current Uranus in Gemini transit. There are some dates that I want to share with you all. Feel free to mark it down on your planner or just write it down for now. So Uranus officially entered Gemini July 7, 2025. Uranus will very soon start retrograding. It will happen September 5th or 6th, depending where you are in the world. Uranus will then retrograde back into Taurus in November 7 or 8, depending where you are in the world. And it will stay in Taurus for a few months, okay? And Uranus will station direct again next year, 2026, February 3rd or 4th, depending where you are in the world. And then Uranus will re-enter Gemini 2026 springtime, April 25th or 6th. And that is when we officially close out the Uranus and Taurus transit and fully enter this Uranus in Gemini transit once and for all. Uranus will continue just moving forward in Gemini at this point. And it will continue to move in Gemini until 2032 August 3rd. That is when Uranus will first dip into Cancer a little bit. But of course, because of retrograde, Uranus will come back and forth between Gemini and Cancer. And we'll spend a few more months during December 2032 to May 2033 in Gemini to really close out this Uranus in Gemini transit for all of us. I cannot wait to see what is going to happen, and I cannot wait when we reach 2033 and look back at what a wild ride we all been on with Uranus in Gemini. Like I always say, history does not always have to repeat itself. Even though astrology is the study of history, cycles, and patterns, each time when this transit repeats, the sky is also moving through different other energy. The planets are also moving through different energy. So some of the major aspects that will happen this time in this Uranus and Gemini transit of course are going to be different. So I do also want to mention them as well. The first one is Uranus and Gemini will trine Pluto in Aquarius, mainly during the first couple of years between now till 2027, I would say. That was when they're closest, because later on Uranus will drift further down in Gemini and this trine will not be as strong. But yeah, during the first couple of years, we will definitely feel this trine between Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. So that can really be, you know, a deep transformational energy between your Aquarius and Gemini house. And on a collective level, this is definitely we the people, Pluto and Aquarius, trying whatever chaos disruption is happening with Uranus in Gemini that is coming out, or maybe innovation. And then we have the sextile with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. It's mostly this year and next year for Saturn, because then Saturn will move further down and out of Aries, and we will feel the Neptune energy a little bit longer because Neptune moves slower, probably until 2028. With Neptune and Saturn sextiling Uranus and Gemini, it can be opportunities to allow you to feel uncomfortable or agitation in those houses so that you will make the change and shift you need in order to break free and liberate yourself from those areas as well. Okay, but it will start with making you feeling uncomfortable so that you move. So that might be that for some of us. There might be this feeling of the need to change and shift from the old system, pattern, belief, societal structure, because we're talking about Saturn, right? Or leadership, Aries, or dreams, Neptune, to building new ones. And also there's this big Uranus-Saturn conjunction that will happen towards the end of Uranus and Gemini transit. And that will happen in 2032, June 28, 29. That is when this major Uranus-Saturn conjunction that will happen at 28 degrees 1 minute. This is huge. This is like, I would say, the midlife crisis conjunction between Saturn and and Uranus, okay? And we all experience this somewhat in our lifetime. Well, no, wait. But this aspect will happen kind of like a midlife crisis for all of us in different ways. That is exactly what it means. We will feel the urge, the need, that feeling of needing to break free from something that is like old, calcified, stagnant, and just wanted to break free from that and try something new. That is why when we talk about like human during midlife crisis, that is when you do some crazy, unexpected things, right? Some, not all, but some of us will kind of like, wow, I didn't know you want to do that, but now you do. Like break free from some kind of relationship, status quo, career path, the way of living their life, and so on and so forth. So that is going to be quite big as well. So you feel free to mark that down and see what that might mean for you. So I just now want to take a moment to share with you all a workshop that I created for all of you, especially for this Uranus and Gemini transit, because all of us have our own natal chart. We're all different rising ascendant sign. So this Uranus and Gemini will affect us differently according to our rising sign and according to our natal chart. All the different planets is everywhere is different, right? So during this workshop, we will look at this Uranus in Gemini transit. Where is it happening for you in your natal chart? What does it mean? What are some important dates you need to look out for? This is going to be very different for everybody because we all have our own unique natal chart. Our planets might be in different places according to our age, time of birth. So is this Uranus in Gemini affecting other planets, especially personal planets in your own natal chart, right? And during this 7-ish year, what dates you need to pay attention to? What dates feel more liberating and ease? And what dates might feel more challenging that you need to pay attention to, that is aspecting your other planets? So this workshop, we will talk about it. And there's a bonus gift from joining this workshop, is that after this personal reading, you will also have a bonus free session, a 30 minutes one-on-one astrology consultation that you can redeem anytime throughout this transit. If you need a little bit of support or help moving through the astrology weather, I want to be able to provide as much as I can to support you, because we're moving through this energy together. So if you're interested, please feel free to check out this post. I put it in the community tab, I think. Yeah, so all the information are there. Email me, comment below, contact me via Instagram. Just DM me, send me a DM if you want to schedule one or if you have any questions. And I cannot wait to read for you. And thank you so much for your time and being here. So that is it. That is all I want to talk about with Uranus and Gemini. I know it is a lot of different types of information. We talk about what this energy is like in general. We break it down. We talk about the history. We talk about some important dates and aspects that will happen this time in this transit for all of us. And now let's switch gear and jump into our all signs reading. Like I always say, if you're going to watch one sign, please let that be your rising ascendant sign message, because that will tell you exactly where this transit is happening in your natal chart, in your Gemini house. And if you want to have a more broader general message, then watch your sun and moon as well. So all the timestamps are below. So I'll see you at your rising sign. Hello, Gemini rising. Of course, we start with you because you are the main character of this transit. Uranus is in your rising sign. You are not going to be the same person in 7-ish year time. When you look back in 2033, you'll be like, who that? Yeah. You will be going through a self-revolution journey. You will change so much that you will not recognize yourself by the end of it. I hope you do. But it just simply mean that because the first house is the most personal house. It's all about you. okay? And what you do, what you move through, how you change, of course, will then be expressed out and affect other different areas of your life. But this is all about you. So during this Uranus and Gemini transit, there will be moments, again, we don't feel this energy every day, okay? Otherwise, everyone's going to go crazy. We will not feel this every day, but during this 7-ish year, there will be moments that you will feel the need to really change and move your energy. It can be very literal, your physical appearance. I don't judge. You do you. You might change your look, right? You might look like a different person literally after this transit, and that is okay. Whatever floats your boat, do it, okay? But that is the most literal manifestation, because it's all about the physical appearance, the first house. You might try out different styles throughout the years, right? You might have long hair and cut it super short, maybe shave it all off, right? Who knows? And you might try different hair colors. You might try out different hair style or dressing style. You might change up your looks here and there. You know, you might try out different products. You might get a new tattoo. You know, all these physical changes that you might be going through the next 7-ish years. And this is also how you experience life through this energy, right? Maybe you feel like you want to change up. You no longer want to express yourself or show up in this way. You want to change it up. Maybe you are a super serious person. I doubt Gemini is a super serious person though. Okay, but maybe you are very like a teacher, very serious, and you show up in this very serious manner, but you might decide to change it up, be very playful and very like opposite, right? And maybe you are very bubbly and playful and like, you know, smiley or whatever, right? But you decide to show up in a different way. Maybe you want to be more serious. Maybe you want to be more quiet. Maybe you want to be more whatever, different, right? So that is what this, oh my God, okay. So that is what this transit might mean for you. It's very physical, very literal. It's something that is very close to your heart that you might not share with others as well, because it's literally the houses that is the most personal. But of course, depending on how you change, it will then also be expressed outward and affect your opposite house, your relationship, because Uranus will be opposing that house, right? And that is your close one-on-one relationship, whether this is your partnership, your business partnership, or your closest one-on-one friendship, family dynamic, or romantic partner, and so on and so forth. So that might be an exchange between these houses as well. So I hope this information is helpful, and if you're interested, of course, feel free to reach out for a more personal reading to see how this Uranus and Gemini transit is going to affect you, what dates you need to pay more attention to. So I do have that special Gemini and Uranus and Gemini workshop that if you're interested, you can feel free to schedule one for yourself as well. Hello, Cancer rising. If you are a Cancer rising, this Uranus in Gemini house is going to take place in your 12th house. This is the most hidden house in some way, because this is the house that deal with everything we cannot see. The 12th house is about your spirituality, your subconscious mind. It also talk about spirituality, different modalities, whether you believe it or not, the different modalities you believe in. It can also talk about hidden enemies sometimes. It can talk about the self-sabotaging behavior we all have. Yeah, so I feel like during this Uranus and Gemini transit, you really need to have some handy tools on your hand to help you calm your nervous system, okay? Because dreams might get really vivid sometimes, not every day, okay? Otherwise everyone is going to go crazy. But I'm just saying, having Uranus in Gemini in your 12th house, that can really stimulate and affect your sleeping pattern, your dreams, your nervous system. So really prioritize rest if possible, right? Keep a dream journal. Your dreams are going to go crazy off the chart? Okay, share with me. I want to know. Okay, I'm so curious. So tell me, connect with me. And I feel like you will also be, whether you're interested in spirituality or you are already practicing some of the different spiritual modalities or whatnot, during Uranus and Gemini, you might find yourself testing them out. Like maybe some won't stick. Some is like, I'm not interested in that anymore. I don't resonate with that anymore, but I do want to learn about that. I want to know more about that. You won't know until you learn or try it out, right? So maybe you want to seek out different and try out different spiritual modalities and see what you resonate with. You might want to become a practitioner. You might simply seek healing in different spiritual modalities as well, because in 12th house this is talking about your own healing journey as well. Perhaps this is finally the time you want to allow yourself to embark on this healing journey for yourself and connect with different modalities and see which one can really help you to heal or help you to move through whatever you want to move through as well. And this might only resonate with some. If what you do happen to be in some kind of institution like hospital, prison, any kind of institution, because 12th house talk about that as well, you might find yourself working or connecting with those institutions as well. Maybe your career is about that, right? Or maybe you might have an opportunity working with people in institution, or you might be feeling drawn to work with people in institution, or so on and so forth, right? So that might be a possibility for that as well. But most of all, I really do want you to have some kind of practice that will help you to navigate through when you feel mentally exhausted, when you feel restless at night, or when you're feeling like you're not able to sleep well, because that might happen when we have Uranus in the 12th house. So I do want you to have those tools on your hand and be able to help yourself when those do happen. And again, if you want to work with me, have a more personal reading about this transit, just feel free to send me an email or drop me a comment or DM me over on the IG as well. Okay, take care. Hello Leo rising, how you all doing? For Leo rising, this Uranus in Gemini transit will happen in your 11th house. The 11th house talks about communities, whether communities that you belong to or the one you create. It talks about your friendships, people you hang out with. It also talks about your hopes and dreams, right? So your aspiration, your humanitarian work. So if you are an activist, wow, this transit is going to be so loud for you. You're going to do some crazy amazing work, I feel like, because 11th house is about activism, humanitarian work as well. So if you do work in those areas, or if you might feel a sudden passion coming up, because Uranus in Gemini might activate those energy within you. Maybe you feel like building communities or joining communities that believe in whatever it is that you think is right or is true. Maybe you want to be more involved in your communities. Maybe you want to connect with friends that is doing any kind of humanitarian work or activism work, and you want to join them, you want to learn more about it. You might also experience sudden changes when it comes to all those topics. Perhaps because of that, you will find yourself leaving some friendship, but also gaining some new friendship, right? Because when you are involved, you will find that some people might not share the same value, might not share the same belief system with you, and you might find yourself not wanting to continue to hang out with people that no longer resonate or align with you. And you will find new people, new tribe, new friends, communities that resonate the current version of you. So That will happen. And because of that, maybe it will alter your hopes and dreams that you have for yourself, or have as for the collective as well, right? So that might be change. That might change as well. Okay. And because the 11th house will oppose the 5th house, that might also affect what you enjoy doing, right? What you do for fun, your hobbies might change, because you change, and the friends change, the communities change, or because of the humanitarian activism work that you are feeling passionate about, you want to engage in, that might change, right? So that is how this transit might manifest for you. If you want more of a personal reading for yourself, cater to your natal chart about this transit, feel free to send me an email or check out that community post, and take care. Hello Virgo, if you are Virgo rising ascendant, this Uranus in Gemini transit is going to happen in your 10th house. The 10th house is your public life. It's your public reputation, your career path, and what you do, right? So this is big. You might change your career path. You might change jobs. You might want to break free from the current job that you are having and try out something new. Maybe you go 180 and do something you've never done before, okay? And because of that, because the Uranus in 10th house will also oppose your 4th house of home environment, your family, your ancestry, your lineage. So maybe because of the changes you have around your career path, what you do for a living, your job, it will also change your home. You might move because of a job. You might change your environment because of a job or career path, right? You might move to your family closer, or you might move away from your family because of that. So that is a possibility as well. You might feel, if you are happy in your existing career or the industry that you're working at, perhaps that industry might experience some changes, and you find yourself be in that change as well. And that change might then affect you to, do I want to stay in this job or do I not? Is this something that's still resonating with me, or is this the end of it? Is this a time to try something new? And if you have been thinking about changing job, well, this is your call. Uranus and Gemini say, yes, let's do something new. Let's explore something. Maybe you will change industry. Maybe you will do a 180, like I said, and do something you've never done before. You were a doctor and now you want to be a farmer, you know, or vice versa. Like, it's going to be very different. Out of the blue, your family will be like, huh? You want to do what? Your friends might be like, you want to do what? It might affect your relationship with your family because they don't understand why you want to do this change. But just know that this change might lead to something else that is more aligned, that is better for you. If you want more of a personal reading, how it really affects your natal chart, feel free to reach out to me. Check out that community post about Uranus and Gemini workshop as well. And I'll see you next time. Hello Libra rising ascendant. For you, this Uranus in Gemini is happening in your 9th house. 9th house talks about distant travel, foreign land, further education, spiritual practice, learning, philosophy, religion, publishing and writing. Yeah, that's all the topics it is. A lot, right? So you might find yourself having innovation, new ideas in those areas. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to publish something. This is your time to do so. Uranus and Gemini is supporting you to do so. Doing the research you need to do to publish, to write that book, to get that thing done, to get it out of the world, to share with the world. Maybe you want to learn something new. Perhaps you might break free from your religion because of whatever reason, right? That is big. That is huge. And I do see people doing that. And maybe this is you wanting to embark on a spiritual journey, a spiritual quest, a philosophy quest. You want to travel to learn something, to be more in tune with spirituality. You might find yourself relocating during this transit. You might find yourself wanting to travel more. But at the same time, you might experience disruption in those stuff as well. Wanting to go on a trip but having last minute changes, or having some disruption that make that trip not possible anymore. But it might lead you to something else. So there might be some icky things in those areas as well. So do watch out and just know that there's a possibility, and try to see things on a more positive side if that happens. Again, if you do want a more personal reading, how this transit really resonate with you and how this manifests in your own natal chart, feel free to reach out to me for a more personal read, and check out that community post as well. And I will see you next time. Hello Scorpio rising ascendant. This Uranus in Gemini is happening in your 8th house. 8th house is all about other people resources. This is about anything you share, you own with others. This can be money, land, properties, investment. This is also the house of tax and debts. This is also a house that talks about sex and intimacy and self-transformation. This is also the house of death, like dying, but no one is dying. I'm not saying anyone is dying, but it can be through someone passing that really changed your perspective in life, right? It can be someone close to you. It can be someone that you admire. It can be like a public figure or whatsoever, right? Or it is you having a different relationship when it's come to the topic of death, right? You are having a different mentality or way of thinking around this topic as well, right? And this is about other people resources. You might experiencing some changes in those areas, maybe a sudden influx of money coming in because of a investment, a share property, buying and selling your property or investment. Maybe you have an inheritance that come in, a tax rebate check that came in, right? That might be it, and it can happen quite sudden out of the blue. Sometimes this is your partner. If you have a partner, this is your partner that experienced those changes and you are experiencing with them. That might be a possibility as well, because the 8th house talks about share resources and also all these stuff, but your partner. So that is the relation to it. If you want a more in-depth reading that is more catered to your personal natal chart, feel free to reach out to me or check out the community post as well, and I'll see you next time. Hello Sagittarius rising ascendant. This Uranus in Gemini transit is happening in your 7th house. The 7th house is partnership, whether this is romantic partnership or business partnership. It also talks about all your close one-on-one relationship as well. So having Uranus and Gemini in that house, it can bring in sudden romance. It doesn't mean that if you're in a relationship it's going to, end. It does not have to mean that. But maybe some of us might experience sudden relationship change, right? But always believe that maybe because the universe wants to redirect or send in something that is more aligned with you, right? So believe that. Contract partnership, business partnership might sudden shift. Maybe someone want to come in and partner up with you. Maybe someone that come in with a contract will suddenly not follow through as well, right? So that is both sides that it might happen, right? The light and the shadow attribute. You might experiencing sometime, not you, but your partner might experiencing changes, and you are experience all these changes with them along their side. So this can be, perhaps, just giving an example, you're married and then your partner needs to relocate because of a job, and you have to then relocate as well because you are a unit together. So this is how you will experience this house this change, this energy, as well as your partner experience changes, and because of that you also experience that changes alongside with them as well. So that might be how this transit's energy manifests for you as well. So if you want a more in-depth reading cater to your natal chart, feel free to reach out to me or check out that community post as well. I'll see you next time. Hello Capricorn rising ascendant. This Uranus in Gemini is happening in your 6th house. 6th house is your physical health, your daily routine, day-to-day job, your co-worker if you have any pets, and the service you give to others. So your life is going to get very different. You might find yourself trying out different routines, trying out different diets, perhaps trying out different hobbies, trying out different thing and see what sticks. This is a experimental transit for you. You might be wanting to try out different lifestyle and see which is more suitable for you by the end of this transit. Not saying you're constantly doing it every day, right? But there might be moments during this transit that you might, let's switch it up. I used to be a morning person, I want to be a night owl now, or vice versa, right? So that might be it. Maybe perhaps you want to shake up your daily routine. You no longer want to go to the gym during the morning. You want to switch it up and go during the nighttime and see what happens, right? That might be it. And maybe you might find yourself changing your job, because 6th house do relate to your day-to-day job. Whatever you do on a day-to-day basis, you might want to refresh and shift it up and shake things up and try something new as well. You might get a pet, right? You're never a pet person. Suddenly you might like, maybe I want a pet, who knows? So that might be how this energy manifests for you. If you want a more in-depth reading catered to your own natal chart, please feel free to reach out to me through email or check out that community post as well. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Hello Aquarius rising ascendant. This Uranus in Gemini is happening in your 5th house. The 5th house is the fun house. I'm a little bit jealous, okay? And because I'm not in the Aquarius rising anyway. So the 5th house talks about children, whether you have your own children or your work has something to do with children, right? It relates to children. It relates to the fun house, whatever you do for fun, your hobbies, what you're passionate about, your creative projects and ideas. It talks about entrepreneurship. It talks about dating and romance. So all that good stuff. So if maybe during this transit, you might suddenly want to start your own business. It might follow through, it might not, because Uranus in Gemini is that sudden energy. But hey, if you don't try, how would you know, right? So maybe you need to try out and see if it's something that you actually want to do or not. You need to test out a business plan in order to see if it's actually going to work or not. So this is the transit for you to experiment with your creative project idea or business plan. Go big or go home, right? So test it out. And this can be you having different hobbies. Maybe you want to try out different things. You used to be very maybe artistic, you love drawing, and now you're like, you know what, I don't enjoy doing that. Let me try something new, something different, right? That might be it. Maybe what used to bring you joy might not bring you joy anymore. You might want to switch up and try a new hobby, try out a new thing, pick up a new hobby. And since this is regarding this house talks about children, if you know that you do not want to get pregnant, please do your own due diligence. And because having Uranus in that house, it can be a sudden pregnancy that you might or might not want. So beware, okay, if that's not in your plan. And for some, it is not you going through changes, it's your children going through sudden changes, and you will have to be there for them and experience those changes alongside with them as well. Maybe your child is going through I'm just listing example, right? Puberty. So it's a lot of different things happening, and you have to be there for them. You have to experience this change with them, alongside them, right? dating and romance. You might feel like dating again if you're single, and if you are dating, you might attract someone that is not your typical type. Relationship might come and go, right? But don't think pessimistically, because you never know. You might meet someone and that person sticks. But I'm just saying that maybe not the first one. So stay open and see what happens, right? This is the time that maybe you go out, you put yourself out there if you're single, or maybe you decide, you know what, I just don't want to date. That's okay too, because it can go both ways. If you want more personal reading catered to your own natal chart, feel free to send me an email or read or check out the community post about this transit as well. And I'll see you next time. Hello, Pisces, rising ascendant. This Uranus in Gemini is happening in your 4th house. The 4th house talks about family, talks your blood-related family or your chosen family. It also talks about your home, the one you're living in right now, your home environment, your roots, your ancestry and lineage. So during Uranus and Gemini transit, you might move. Yeah, this is one of the most literal manifestation for this transit. Is you might move home, you might find yourself decorating home, having a major renovation. You might move across cities or even countries. You might create a new home yourself, right? Like home might be changing. Or it is your family that is experiencing changes and you change along their side, right? Maybe this is your family members going through changes and you are there for them. You are like witnessing those changes, right? Or moving along with them with those changes, like because maybe you all live together and because your family is changing, you have to move with them to somewhere else, or you all decide to move somewhere else, or decide to have this big renovation at home, or so on and so forth. You might move literally, like you might be living with your family, but you decided to have your own family because you got married and now you're creating your own home, right? So that might be how it changed. And it can be also because it talks about roots, lineage, and ancestor. It might be you feeling interested to connect, be more connected, to learn more about your roots, your ancestry, your ancestor, and be more connected with them in that way as well. All right, be curious. Gemini is learning, right? Information. So you might want to learn more about your family history, your ancestor, and so on and so forth, right? Yeah, so this might be how it manifests for you. And of course, Uranus in 4th house will also oppose the opposite house, which is the 10th house. So maybe because of the move, the change in environment, it will also affect your work. You might now need to find a job in somewhere else. You might need to switch your job, or maybe you are moving your family because of a job. So that might be how it connected, right? So if you want more of a personal reading catered to your own natal chart, feel free to send me an email or check out that community post, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Aries rising ascendant. Uranus in Gemini is happening in your 3rd house. 3rd house talks about siblings, talks about your immediate environment around you. The way you express yourself, the way you communicate with others and share your ideas. If you have a social media presence, that is 3rd house too. And 3rd house sometimes can talk about learning, related to learning as well. So your neighborhood is going to get weird and chaotic. Just kidding, okay? But it just means that you might experience some changes and shifts. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes might be a bit disrupted or chaotic in your neighborhood, in your day-to-day immediate environment. You might see some interesting thing happening in supermarket while you're there, while you're getting grocery. Your neighbor might change. Your neighbor might move in and out. You might experience changes in your neighborhood, right? So who knows? You might become a friend with your neighbor, your new neighbor that came in. If you have sibling, the dynamic or relationship might change. Whether this is getting closer or more distant, right? It can go both way. So that is a possibility. You might feel the way you think or express yourself will change because of what is happening around you. You might decide to have a social media presence, or if you have one already, you might go through moments of changes where you want to show up in a very different way. Since third house also related to learning, you might want to pick up an online course, or there might be something that you're interested that you want to learn during this transit as well, right? Uranus and Gemini, sometimes it can talk about your interests. You might feel a sudden urge to learn something new. So that is how this energy might manifest. If you want a more in-depth personal reading catered to your own natal chart, feel free to reach out to me. Send me an email or check out that Uranus and Gemini community post. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Hello, Taurus, Taurus rising, ascendant. This Uranus and Gemini is happening in your second house. First of all, you have just experienced Uranus in your first house, especially Taurus rising ascendant. How are you? I really want to talk to you. Feel free to connect with me, comment below, or send me an email, DM on Instagram. How has this Uranus and Taurus for the past 7 years since May 2018 change and shift for you? What area of your life changed? The way you show up, the way you express yourself, or in what area of your life did you experience personal freedom or breakthrough, break free, liberation? I would love to hear from you. Anyway, so Uranus and Gemini in your second house now is moving to a second house, which is all about personal resources. I feel like because of the personal changes you have been moving through the past 7-ish year, it's going to affect your personal resources too. Maybe you have changed career. The relationship you have with money changes. Your value changes. Okay, definitely. I probably can say, I guarantee. Like the way you see the world, the way your value, your belief system, your pattern probably change, and that is why how you see the world, how you view things might be very different now. And having Uranus and Gemini is going to exactly do that. Now that you've experienced it in your first house, it would then be expressed in the second house, right? So maybe perhaps during this Uranus and Gemini transit, you might feel like you want to manage your personal resource differently, right? It talks about your money, investment, everything you own that is yours, right? It can be the way your relationship with money or the way you earn money might be different now. It might change and shake up, right? The way you view the world or different belief pattern system might be different. So that is how this energy might come up and show up for you. And because of that, because Uranus in second house will oppose the 8th house, so it might also affect other people's resources, right? The way you change might also affect how you want to share your resources with others, or how others want to share their resources with you. Right? So this is how the energy might show up for you. If you want a more in-depth personal reading catered to your own natal chart, please feel free to reach out to me. You can send me an email. You can check out the Uranus and Gemini community post, or you can reach out to me through Instagram as well. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye. All right, this is it. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this space. I hope this video gave you some insight or information that can help you move through this transit with a little bit of information, right? Feel like you know something. You're not lost, right? And remember, you're not alone. We are all experiencing and moving through this transit, this energy together. If there's any time you feel like I can be in your service to support you through your journey, please feel free to send me an email, connect me over in Instagram. You can message me there. I'm always just a message and email away. Comment below. If you find this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, I would really love for you to consider subscribing or sharing, commenting this video, because this is the way to help this video to get out there, to help to build and grow this community, which I would love for you to help me to do so if that resonates. And yeah, I thank you so much for being here. You are the reason why I create this space and hope to continue to expand on this space, sharing astrology with you all, moving through this energy with you all. And if you want, again, a more in-depth personal reading catered to your own natal chart, just feel free to DM me. I offer all kinds of astrology consultation, readings, forecasts, and I do tarot and akashic records reading, distant Reiki energy healing sessions. So please feel free to reach out to me. In the meantime, take care. We will definitely continue to talk about this transit as time goes. So take care, and I'll see you next time.